Hello, my name's Jasmine Cunningham, and the name of my music magazine is The Fallout. The music genre that I chose was pop/punk rock. The reason why I chose this is because this genre in particular is quite personal to me. Even though I listen to all types of music, pop/punk rock in particular, I enjoy because the lyrics, the songs, the instruments, all that combined just is so effective, and it has an effect on me, and the meaning of the songs are quite powerful, and they connect with me. The first task I was required to do was the website design. This involved using Weebly to design a website which would hold all my coursework for the entire year, including the final products for our music magazine. And it will display all the stages in which we were required to go through in order to get our final products. At first, I found it quite difficult because I'd never been required to make a website, and I've never used Weebly before. But over time, I did find myself enjoying the task. But considering I'm a perfectionist, it was quite stressful when I wanted to make sure that pictures and text was all aligned and it looked aesthetically pleasing and authentic. And what I learned was how to make a website and how to make sure it looked professional. The next task was a preliminary task, which required me to make a college magazine. Well, the front page and the contents page of the college magazine. This required me to take pictures. I had to obviously use a camera and then incorporate in all the different shots and angles that we learned. I had to use that and consider that when taking my pictures for my magazine. And then I had to use Photoshop to then design the front cover and the contents page of my magazine. I did find this quite difficult considering the fact that I've never used Photoshop before, but over time I did get to grasp of the different tools and I did sort of enjoy it, but I knew that throughout the course of this year I would get better at using Photoshop. So what I learned is how to use Photoshop and the different tools that I could use. The next task was textual analysis, which was the first section of the research stage, and this involved getting two front pages of music magazines of my genre and two double page spreads of my music genre, and I had to consider the denotation, so I needed to describe what I saw on each page, and then I had to go into mise en scène, so their costumes, props, the setting, lighting, etc. And I also had to look at the typography and consider the connotations of everything that was used in those front covers and double page spreads. What I actually quite enjoyed that because I'm quite analytical, and it made me develop a new perspective of music magazines and the images they use and how they construct everything and the connotations behind each prop or each costume or each facial expression. The next task was convention diagrams, and this required me to use Photoshop to then annotate all the different conventions on a front cover, a contents page and a double page spread from music magazines which suit my genre, which is pop/punk rock. At first I did find this quite difficult as I've never done media and I didn't really know much about the conventions and what each convention is for, but what this did help me with is getting to know the different conventions and the purposes for them. What I did enjoy also is using Photoshop to make the convention diagrams and make it my own and make it aesthetically pleasing, and this also helped me learn more skills required for Photoshop. The next task was audience profiling, which required me to make two imaginary people, two potential readers of my music magazine, one male, one female, and they had to represent basically the two perfect readers of my music magazine. My male, I think, was called Ashley Parker, and my female was called Emma Davis. Or anyway, what I had to use was simply Weebly, and I had to gather some images which to display the hobbies and interests of these characters, their clothing and their musical interests. And what I enjoyed about that is that I got to use my imagination, and I was able to also incorporate my own characteristics, as I would be a perfect reader for Pop/Punk magazine. So I did find that I had to think outside the box and think, okay, if someone else were to listen to a Pop/Punk magazine, what things would they enjoy to do, or what background would they have? So I found that quite fun. And finally, I had to do audience research, which was a long task. However, it was quite enjoyable. This required me to design a survey which would basically help me gather ideas on how my final product should look like. So I made a survey and I shared it on different social media like Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, etc. and got people to complete it and got their opinions. And with the questions within the survey, included questions for the front page, contents page, and double page spread. And it considered the name of the magazine, which is in the end came out to be The Fallout, the different shots I might use, typography, so what colour the text should be on each page, what the colour scheme should be, and how the masthead should look like, and other sort of elements like that. And this was useful as it made it much easier for me to decide on how my final product should be, as I would then know what people like, and I can ensure that my final product would look good at the end. So what I learned was how to make an effective survey which would then be useful to me, and it also allowed me to expand my imagination, because coming up with multiple names for my music magazine was quite difficult. So I'm glad that the final name was one that was pretty good. So yeah, so that is my research video log.